Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Jays here, back at it again, and today we got white people are done with black people by Meezy. You already know what the deal is. Follow me on my socials. So without further ado, let's get this started.
Black fatigue is a collective tiredness that everyone in the country, especially in the United States, has for black people.
Black fatigue. Have you heard this phrase?
I've never heard this phrase until I seen this video.
Black fatigue. It's all over my FYP page.
Black fatigue is real. Everybody is tired of black people.
Black fatigue.
I've never heard of this ever.
The month of May seems to mark a lot of celebrations in people's lives. It's the start of the summer, the end of the school year, and that means people are graduating from their high schools and their colleges. A joyous time, a time to celebrate, and a time to just let loose because all your accomplishments and hard work finally amount to something in a diploma or a degree. So when this video started circulating around the internet, you would think that people would have nothing but joy for the people, the young students in the video. But then
hey man, shout out to the students, you know what I'm saying? Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Afro-Latina, you know what I'm saying, Pacific Islander, you know, shout out to all the people graduating and proving themselves, man, and getting their money, getting their paper, you know, getting better every single day. Shout out to all y'all, man. Shout out to all y'all.
They tapped into the video and saw the conversation surrounding it. It sparked this nasty conversation about this new racist phrase, black fatigue.
Black fatigue is crazy. This is jungle behavior activity. They are savages. See, bro, they're literally just happy. Like, if you're a senior and you're graduating, I'm not gonna get mad at you for turning up. That's my belief, right? You're graduating, you're moving on to a new state of life. Turn up, have a party, dance, move, have fun, right? You're like, this dude's acting like they're blowing stuff up, setting off fires and all that. Like, they're just turning up. What's the big problem?
Reading the caption, this is jungle tribal ancestors. These are not a socially developed people. These are savages, and whites want segregation. We don't belong around each other. Black fatigue maxing. Now, obviously, that's a race rage bait. I mean, this is a
obviously
predominantly black school from what I see. You're already segregated from these people, but it sparked a new term, a new dog whistle, the phrase black fatigue. And I wanted to dive deep.
The internet comes up with some new phrase every month,
into what that means, why people are talking about it, and why it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Listen, from my point of view, right? Everyone, each person, each people group has the people that are predominantly despised, hated, or just seen as, you know, not good, right? In the case for that black community, the black community's negative stereotypes are us being loud, socially unaware, aggressive. And now there are members of our community who are like that, yes. But to say that every single black person, especially in the United States, is just some wild thug barbarian is blatantly discriminatory, racist, and ignorant.
Black fatigue. This video might make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be made. There's a growing sentiment, most recently, of individuals who are proclaiming they do have black fatigue. And you don't have to be a non-black person to have black fatigue. What does that phrase actually mean? Essentially, black fatigue is a growing weariness of the actions of the quote-unquote black community. But
that's just racist, my nigga.
It goes deeper than that, because we are in 2025 now, and we are being judged based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin.
So basically the gist of what this is that a collective of people are grouping in overgeneralizations, you know, memes, excerpts of videos, or just anything that black people do that they don't find socially acceptable, and categorizing it as black fatigue. What's funny is black fatigue is a general statement. If you have a certain fatigue of a certain type of behavior, you should probably point it out and call that specific behavior. But painting a picture with a broad brush, calling it black fatigue, is just
like, oh, black people are so loud. Buddy, every race has loud people. Black people are this, that, and the third. Every race has members like that. If you're tired of those types of actions, okay, but to categorize those actions with a specific, to categorize any action with a specific race, unironically, is very, very foolish in my opinion.
just flat out racist, and also encompasses the black people that you are, like you are the right wing, possibly grifting black people. But even if they're not grifting, you as a black person are in black fatigue. You are a part of the conversation. Now, I've seen other videos that talk about specific types of behavior, ratchetness, ghetto-ness, whatever the case may be, and they talk about having fatigue for that. I guess it's a little bit better, but ultimately, if it's black fatigue and you're black, you also get categorized into black fatigue. But let's let him continue on, because he was going into this conversation about identities and all this other stuff, and I thought that that was a little bit more interesting.
Are we recording? I better had to make sure. OBS was a homie. Had to make sure.
The lie that's been sold to the black community in particular is that the color of our skin dictates the content of our character. That's why in the black community, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you are acting white, when they're talking to someone like myself who doesn't act the way most people.
Acting white is such a stupid term. Like, acting white is like, okay, when people mean acting white, they mean like you're very proper, you speak well, you're fairly well-mannered, right? I say you're well-mannered, you know how to speak. You use proper English, and they say, oh, you acting white, you talking white. Listen. Talking white is so foolish. Like, it doesn't make sense, bro. It just doesn't make sense. Like, why don't you just say, oh, you speak proper, you speak well, you have good sense of, vocabulary. Why do we need to say, oh, you speak like a white man? Like, that doesn't even... Like, I understand where they're getting at. For most of black history, right, black people have been oppressed by higher elites, mainly white people, right? This goes back to the days of segregation, where black people were mainly bought and sold off to other white people, right, to work on plantations in horrid conditions. And I understand that even when we got our freedom, right, when black people got their freedom, because the abolition of slavery, right, a lot of them people had to go to sharecropping, which spurred them further into poverty and indebtedness. Furthermore, the majority of black people, especially in the South, couldn't read, right, and they were illiterate. So it was harder for them to get a job. It was harder for them to find good work. And what happened is that a lot of black people, especially those who moved into these more urban communities like New York or Philadelphia or Boston, had to live in very close proximity to each other in less than stable housing. And this was the actual creation of the ghettos, the hoods, right, where you have a bunch of lower income, more poverty-stricken-esque black people, right? They're moving together, and what happened is that poverty breeds to crime, because when people can't get what they want, they seek it through mainly illegal means, whether that be selling drugs, using guns, or other means of violence. So that's also how black people got that term, being violent, being poor, and things of that nature. And I understand that this term, like speaking white, mainly results of black people for the vast majority of American history making up the vast majority of the lower class, those who don't really have much because of all the years and decades of slavery. However, the term still doesn't make sense, because there's white people out there who talk extremely casual, who are extremely, they're just not that proper, right? And there's a ton of black people who speak very proper, very well English. So to say that you speak white just doesn't make sense, because a way of speaking, right, in terms of the words that you use, is not native or isn't fully associated with any ethnic group or race, right? It's just not associated with it.
Would expect a conventional black person to act. In their minds, there is a correct way to act black. And the people in your ethnic group who fulfill
acting black, like I understand that people be like, oh, I'm taking your black card away, I'm taking this. I say that those are jokes. But to people who actually think that if you're black, you can't have this, or you can't, it's foolish to me.
Very negative stereotypes. Those are the ones who are going to essentially drag down the collective whole. And that's why there's individuals who are black who do and can have black fatigue, because they see how damaging it is to see the worst of us attract all this negative attention that then unfortunately gets ascribed to the entire race all too often. But what's unfortunate is here in 2025, now we have to contend with the fact that there's there's people who are so sick and tired of seeing those negative aspects, those negative individuals in the black community attracting all this attention. That's what is spurring this black fatigue.
Yeah.
I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And until we turn inward and address the issues in our own communities, I fear that this is only going to continue and get worse.
I do believe the conversation of talking and acting black is an outdated conversation / narrative that most people are having. In 2025, people are seeing that black people come in all different shapes, sizes, and flavors. Now, maybe he is like, I don't know, 60 years old undercover, like he's got a dyed beard or whatever the case may be. But if you are getting hit with claims that you are acting white in 2025, there's probably more to it, because we know that black people watch anime. We know that black people participate in politics.
Of course. I feel like our generation, Gen Z, I feel like we've done a better job of just not caring about race that much. I feel like we just don't care enough about race or where you come from, things of that nature. I feel like our generation has substantially improved on that, right? You know, everybody watches anime, everybody plays the game, everybody's, put their hands up to do the spirit, but like everybody's done that before, right? And when everyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, or background, has common experiences, the diffusion of ideas, beliefs, and practices is easier and significantly more comfortable to do. Hence, because racism at the end of the day just boils down to discriminatory behaviors towards people groups, often because you want to only associate your people group and you deem other tribal people groups as worse than yours, right? This goes back all the way down to, caveman, hunter-gatherer times, where you need to stick with your tribe, your group of people, because you go off into the other tribe, they might kill you. They may not give you food. They may not protect you, right? So you need to stick with your tribe to survive. And this idea, right, despite the fact that the world has changed in so many ways since those eras, a lot of people still have a very strong sentiment of that ideal that I have to care only my people group, only my ethnicity. You can't associate with those other people groups, whether that be blacks, Asians, whites, etc. Right? You understand? Like, you picking up what I'm putting down, right? I'm basically saying that a lot of people still hold these racial sentiments because they only want to associate with their tribal groups or people groups. And yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Now, when different people groups or ethnicities start to talk and converse with one another, right, start to interact more, if it goes well, it leads to cultural diffusion, which leads to the races being more tolerant of each other and creating a more cohesive society.
We know that black people participate in country music, whether it's making it or listening to it, things that would be traditionally ascribed to white people, or things that would traditionally be ascribed to different races or ethnicities of people, or whatever the case may be. So it is not just the way that you act or the things that you correspond with that give you that name, but ultimately it's probably some of your actions. Listen, this is a tired conversation already, and we just begun. It's crazy that a lot of this conversation, at least from my perspective, stem from a celebratory group of young people that have some sort of accomplishment, dancing and singing in the respective homes or respective safe places that they have for one another.
What is it that you want me to say? That it fits the narrative, that it's the perfect stereotype of what people are labeling black culture, that our people want to be respected amongst everybody else in the world, because it's not just the United States of America.
Mind you, this all stems from dancing. Like, when the hell did we
dancing? Not throwing objects, not breaking stuff, not setting fires. I didn't see no booty shaking inside. Everyone was just dancing, like just having fun at the senior. This was probably seniors, right? Let's be real. This is probably seniors. Maybe they're graduating college, and yet they're like acting like this is such a big, insane deal, which it's not. The person who said this is, all the racist stuff that person said. Obviously, they're rage baiting, but it's like, my brother in Christ, it's not that serious. Calm down.
So critical or so, upset about dancing, especially dancing in a non-sexual manner. Like, there's nothing wrong with the way
they're not even doing. That's what I'm saying. They weren't even doing like sexual dances. It was literally just fun, innocent dancing. Why are some people so critical of other races, right? I don't get
these
it.
People are doing anything in terms of celebrating. They're not, destroying street signs or flipping over cars.
Yep, Philadelphia Eagles, every time they win, they just start rampaging the city.
Cars after their favorite sports team won, or they're not punching people or fighting people because they got into an argument that their favorite sports team has won, or damn, doing anything around sports when their favorite sports team wins. People criticizing dancing specifically at a graduation is very weird to me. It's policing, and I think that it's also weird to take the videos and pictures, put the sounds behind it, and overanalyze the situation as a whole, especially when these people are doing what a lot of people would think is something that is celebratory.
Even the problem is a lot of people are just online too much. They're online too much. They don't get a lot of social interaction, and they see these behaviors like, oh, they're racist, they're barbarians, they're baboons. Like, bro, do you not have fun? Do you not hang out with other people? Have you never gone to a party or graduation, bro? At graduations, people are happy. They're cheering, they're dabbing each other up, they're dancing. It makes sense. You're moving on to a new stage of your life. This calls for a celebration or something, right? Even if you're a more introverted, kind of chill, mellowed out person, you still want to celebrate, have fun, right? My point is that some people, I feel like a lot of these like online racists who say these things about other people groups, they just don't interact a lot. They mainly stay inside. They probably watch a lot of these. They see, I don't know, the 20 view ones are like, oh, all black people are like this, which is not the case. It's not the case, my brother. If you keep searching for bad apples, you're gonna get them. What you focus on, what you put your mind to, you're gonna see it more in the reality that you will have, bro. The more you think about something, the more energy you put towards something, you're gonna see more of that in your reality. If you constantly seek out negativity or unfaithful aspects of a race or group of people, you're gonna constantly see them, right? And you're gonna hyper fixate on them, and then you're going to generalize them to the whole people group by extension, even if it's not true, right? You keep focusing on this negativity. You constantly focus on negativity. You're going to not only fixate on it, but you're going to produce it. You're going to live in it. And that's why it's important for you to change your mindset, to seek out positive behaviors, right? The people who are criticizing, it's great to celebrate a graduation, but you don't do it like this. You don't do it like that. Well, damn, this is silly. Why are you policing? People are different. Why you gotta police people so hard?
But I went down the hashtag of what black fatigue is to see if people were really picking apart culture or picking apart anything worthy of talking about for real, to see more examples.
A lot of people, they're not picking apart anything substantial. They're not picking up anything substantial. It's a lot of just race baiting and this person said this person said that, everyone's angry. It's like, it's not a cohesive argument. That's the problem. Because I'm thinking most of this is going on Twitter. And I have Twitter, barely use it. Because from my opinion, Twitter, a lot of negativity and nonsense just goes on Twitter. And me personally, like I already said, I like to keep my mind positive. I feel like the more you focus on positivity in your life will get better, right? You have better actions, you think better, you're more fun to interact with, because nobody wants to be around a person who's constantly negative and talking about their past and their drama. Nobody wants to be around somebody like that. So I do my best to block out a whole bunch of negativity, a whole bunch of nonsense, right? Like, I don't want to interact with something that I know is just gonna make me feel bad about myself, make me feel worse, right? That's where I'm coming from. I'm not saying we can't have conversations where negativity might potentially be involved, because sometimes to really grow, you need to delve into uncomfortable topics. Part of my study, you gotta dwell into topics that you aren't fully comfortable with discussing, but at the same time, you can't live in that realm of just negativity and hate and anger.
Of what people are classifying as black fatigue, and whether it was just another dog whistle. I really gave this a chance, but the more I scrolled, the more race.
Most of it is just dog whistle. Oh, black people are ratchet, they're loud. Like, it's the same old.
Consistent guy. Hashtag black fatigue. Billions wasted trying to educate a race whose only interest is violence and destructions. Teachers should not have to also be bouncers and bodyguards.
yeah, this is extremely stupid. Why?
Now, don't get me wrong. The behavior being displayed on camera is one.
Yeah, it is egregious. Getting behind a desk in a movie theater, terrorizing stuff, throwing stuff, breaking stuff. It's awful. But to say that, oh, all black people act like this, it's ridiculous, right? Because there's black people on the internet in person calling this type of behavior out. So if there's people calling it out, they can't support it, right? Like, let's just be honest here. Like, if you're calling something out online, you most likely aren't in favor of that thing. You think it's dumb, stupid, or just not the best action or course to take. How are like these type of people who think, oh, black people are like this? How do you associate? Oh, there's people doing these actions, right? Which is the minority, and the big portion, the majority of people are calling this type of, you know, foolish, stupid behavior out, you know, the delinquent behavior out. How do you associate with, oh, all black people are like this, when people are literally calling them out, saying that these actions are stupid, saying that these actions are, you know, just foolish, right? How do you make that comparison?
100% wrong. My problem,
yeah, 100% wrong. My problem is that they see these actions and they use it to justify their racist sentiments.
is this overgeneralization of people and making it so that a whole race is being covered under the black fatigue hashtag. It's literally dressed up racism. It's people taking these one-off situations,
these scenarios on Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter of people, mostly, you know what I'm saying, mostly black people doing something destructive, rude, or aggressive, and they're like, ah ha ha, all black people are racist in this, that, and the third, which is just not true. If you cherry pick examples, you're gonna keep finding them. That's just how it works, bro. You keep searching for negativity, you're gonna keep getting it.
covering a whole society and then using it as a reason to spread racist rhetoric or segregationist rhetoric or whatever ideologies they have to spread or use, or whatever the case may be. There are plenty of videos of black people graduating. There are plenty videos of black people that are, you know, accomplishing goals. There are plenty videos of black people just doing what people
doing good, doing regular stuff, listening to music, playing football, playing basketball, playing, you know, worldwide football or soccer. There's people like these people, these individuals who have these views will literally cherry pick anything just to further their argument and dismiss all the other examples. But I think I've said what I need to say. I think I've said what I need to say. I think I said what was on my mind, you know what I'm saying, to get out my chest, you feel me? But yeah, man, I don't want to, like, I'm ending it early because I feel like I said what I need to say. I feel like I said that, like, you know, even though there's people of every race, you know what I'm saying, that have done bad actions that are seen as barbaric, rude, or just plain, you know, they're the quote unquote lesser dans. I feel like that using these one-off examples and clips to justify your racist views on a whole community is stupid. But yeah, man, that's what I believe. I hope we can all change and grow and, you know, have a civil discussion about something more substantial. But hey, man, that was this video. Thank you for watching. It's your boy, you know what I'm saying, Jay's there. Go to the main channel, Jay's here. Jay's here is where the commentary videos are going to be from now on. Jay's there, you know, the reaction channel. This is where the reaction going to be from now on. But hey, man, thank you for all the support. I love y'all so much. Stay wealthy, stay healthy, and stay blessed. It's your dog, Jay's here.